So I'm making this video because so many people assume that I'm wrong when I teach about the 7 days of the week. Because we are all taught that Sunday is the first day and Saturday is the last day, which is the 7th day. But that's completely wrong. So I have explained many times about the esoteric and the exoteric, which means the inner knowledge and the outer knowledge. In other words, the truth and the lies. The exo, or the outer wisdom, is like judging a book by its cover. But those that have read the book and know what's in the inside are the ones that hold the true wisdom and have not judged the book by its cover. So it's kind of like us humans who live on the outer shell surface of the earth. So we have the outer knowledge of what's going on, but we really truly do not understand, nor have we even been to the inner earth. Therefore, we don't have the esoteric knowledge of the earth. So you see, the macrocosm cannot exist without the microcosm. The beach cannot exist without the grain. So it is the inner workings that make everything possible and flow and work. Thus, the inner workings are the truth. So the sheep don't think, they just listen. And that's exactly why they cannot connect the dots, because the truth that they are told is actually lies, which is why they are lost and don't understand the truth. So for the layman, or for the common person, if you're using Sunday as your first day and Saturday as your 7th day, this is exactly why you don't understand and are able to relate and correlate and connect all of the various subject matters and understand where they are all united. Okay, first of all, I just want you to use your own mind, your own logic. Sunday being the first day and Saturday being the 7th day. Now, how do you live your week? On Sunday, we are off. And on Monday, we begin. So where on earth does anything begin with the number 2? Nowhere. We begin, or we start, with the number 1. In this case, which I'm going to explain later, they're starting with 0, which is the 1. But I'll get back to that. Monday is 2. But that's not true, because Monday is the first day of the week. That's why we all begin our week on Monday, which is named after the moon, Moon's Day, monotheistic, monarchy. It means one. So for those that don't know, the days of the week, the 7 days, are named after the 7 ancient gods in the sky, or the 7 planets, also known as the Elohim. So I'm not going to make this a long video, but I do encourage you to stop at any time, pause, and go do your own research on what I'm saying. So remember that a coin consists of both a front and a back. This is why there are 2 sides to every coin. So this is why symbolism both reveals and conceals, which is why the wisdom must be unveiled. So it's very easy to see how this system that they give us doesn't work in real life at all. So we know that all the words with mono, in other words, all mean one. Like speakers, you either have stereo or mono. So the mono is the moon, and the stereo is the star, the aster. And our closest star is the sun. But the moon is the closest. It's number 1. So in order to see the light, or to understand something, we need the light in order to have sight, which will make us bright. So this is why the secret societies take you from darkness into the light. Thus you are reborn into the inner realm, or the secret hidden truth. So our vision of truth is based upon perspective of truth. And our eyes only know the light of truth that it's given. This is why our eyes are deceived by the false light of a hologram, which makes our eyes believe that the light we are seeing is an actual object when it's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a time in history where we have 3D projection.
And of course, these animals are all holograms. They are fake, they're not real whatsoever. Although from our perspective, they appear to be real because they manipulate the light or the brightness, how we perceive it in our eyes.
My fellow Americans. My fellow Americans.
So a hologram manipulates the light that projects into our eyes. So you see how easy it is to manipulate our mind's eye through the manipulation of light. Thus the light rays of Ra or Re, the sun god, which is why we retain the light or the enlightenment. So perhaps now you'll understand why light is used for enlightenment in religion. So we see through our binocular vision. So this is why the word vision is the vi-sun, or via the sun, because the scion is the Zion of the sun. So the vi means the road of the scion, or of the sun, the path of the sun. So this is why we have a light prism, the pry of the sun, the scion. Thus we have the pry of the scion of the Son of God, thus the prima. This is the whole meaning behind the word prince and princess, which brings us back to holograms. Remember in Star Wars, Princess Leia and the holograms? You see, it is a Star Wars, a celestial war of the moon and the sun, which is represented by the red and the blue. So this is why everything I teach is the vision of the red and the blue, the left and the right. It is the very cycle of nature from day and night to winter and summer. So that's why the entire Bible is about the bi-seasons of the two, the red and the blue. Thus, the division of the divide, and also the wisdom of King Solomon, which brings us to the wisdom of the twin pillars of the sun and the moon. And of course, this is the wisdom behind the twin pillars of the World Trade Center. You see, since ancient times, they believe that the sun and the moon were held up on pillars, and they are the ones that begin and end our existence, our week, our month, our year, are all broken down in the bi-cycle or the dia cycle. So that's why I explained that all Hollywood movies and all of the games that we play in life are actually about the cycle of the seasons. I mean, that's why you follow the yellow brick road in The Wizard of Oz, because Dorothy is the doorway to the green, which is the spring, the man behind the green screen. Thus the green spring is the green man that represents the doorway or the gateway in the Bible that is surrounded by the pillars of the first and the last. So this is why the 7 looks like the 1, because it is the 1 and the 7, or the equinox of the spring and the autumn of the 1 and the 7, the Lady of Justice, the one who is blind, marks the division of the bi-season of 2. So this is why the pillars of the week are also set by the sun and the moon, or the 1 and the 7. So this is why Jesus, the blindfolded one, is against the pillar. And of course Jesus is the gateway or the doorway, and we worship him on Sun's Day when the sun rises, which is the 7th day. So this is why they say Jesus is from Nazareth, which is really the Mazareth. So that's why we have the 12 disciples of Jesus, or the 12 houses of the zodiac sun. So the Star of David is the Star of Divide, which is the Star of 6, or the sexagram, or the hexagram. But actually it's representing the number of 7 in the center, which is the number for the sun, or Jesus. But the symbol of 6 is representing the symbol of the 12 houses, which is why Jesus is 7 or 13. And thus the confusion of Saturn's day, the 6, and 7, the sun's day. So this is why Jesus, the 7, is sacrificed on the seventh day. Thus it also becomes the 1. Thus the 7 and 13 are sacrifice numbers. Now don't go between the twin pillars and get lost in the Mazareth or the maze. So this is why the 7 can represent the 1. Thus, like in the word solo, for the Son. So Jesus the Son is the sacrificed one. This is why when we delete something on our cell phone, we push the number 7. And my teachings can be proved in all angles, from all sides. So perhaps now you'll understand why the Bible is all about the number 7. So that's why the book of Revelations, or the book of Re, the sun god, the number 7, is all about the number 7 in the book of Revelations, or the book of the Apocalypse, which is the Apollo eclipse, or the rapture, which is the raw aperture of the sunlight. So when you have the true key of wisdom, you'll understand the truth behind the number 7 and the book of Revelations, which is just about revolving, dying, coming to the end, and then rebirthing. So that's why they tell you salvation is in Jesus Christ, because Sal is the sun. And of course that's why we mourn in the morning after the sun had died, during the evening. So like I said, my wisdom can answer all questions through etymology and symbolism and everything. So the Hebrew day begins at sunset, and of course our day begins at sunrise. So it's always been about the sun and the moon since ancient times. They are the two pillars that begin and end. And so now with the wisdom I gave you, you can answer all sorts of things like the 12 labors of Hercules, and how he represents the winter and the summer, thus the lion of the sun. And of course that's why they released this film in July, because July is the 7th month. So now you'll understand why we have the Hercules, the 7th episode in the first season, shooting the apple off of the head while blindfolded. So now you'll also understand the story of Samson, thus the twin pillars of the son of Sam. And that's why Samson has the long hair of the lion's son. And so now you'll also understand why Samson was known as Samson the Blind. And of course, if you look at the sun, it will blind you. So anyway, now you'll understand why there were 7 locks of Samson's hair. So the 7 days of the week begin and end with the pillar of the sun and the moon, the Sol and the Man. So that's why Saturday and Sunday is called the week end, and not the week beginning. So you see, since ancient times, the moon god Sin, Nana, or Luna, or the moon, was always the first one worshipped. Thus, Yahweh, or Yareach. So for thousands of years before the Bible, that's why Shamash, the sun, or Utu, was actually the offspring or the son of the moon god, Sin, the father god. So do your research and you will see that my vision is quite clear. So this is why the moon and the sun are interchangeable. They are the pillars that begin and end. They are the 1 and the 1, or the 1 and 2, or the 7 and the 1. So that's why Monday, the mono, is the 1, the moon's day, and Tuesday is 2, as in 1, 2, Mars Day, thus Bloody Tuesday. So now you'll understand why we have the red blood of Ruby Tuesday. And Wednesday is Odin's Day, or it is Hermes Trismegistus Day, aka Mercury. And the 4th day of the week is Thursday, named after Thor, or Jupiter. And of course the 5th day of the week, Friday, is named after Frigga, the goddess of love, which is Venus, or Aphrodite. Thus, the 5 represents the pentagram of the goddess. Then of course, Saturday is named after the planet Saturn, the god Saturn, the day of chaos, Saturnel. And this is why Saturn is the 6th planet. Which brings us to the 7th day of the Son of Sacrifice, the end, which becomes the beginning. So now I hope you understand the truth about the Son of God, and thus the recycling of nature. There is no end, just an end to an age.